Hello everyone. In this video I want to talk about data preparation steps for K-means clustering. So to reiterate, preparation depends on the type of algorithm that you're working with, and that is why the data preparation steps that I'm talking about in this particular video are specific for K-means clustering and not a generic set of steps which you need to execute every time you apply any technique. Okay. So let's go through what are these steps. The first one that we already talked about is deciding on the clustering variables, and we talked about how to do that. The second thing that we talk about is variable transformation. So let us understand what is variable transformation and why do we need to do that. So for each of these data preparation steps, it's very important to understand the reason why that particular preparation is needed. And the reason is closely tied to the steps in the algorithm, to the objective of the algorithm. Okay. And another thing that I want to emphasize here is that the sequence in which these steps are executed are also important. So keep that in mind, and I'll talk about that a little bit again, and there is a reason why the certain sequence needs to be followed. So when we talk about variable transformation, what we're saying is that we will check for outliers and we will use transformations like log and square root for reducing the skewness of the variables. So there are quite a few things that I'm talking about here. I'm talking about skewness and outliers. So this is a concept that we had discussed during when we talked about EDA, and when I showed you ways in which you can visually inspect the distribution of numeric data. And once you look at the distribution, you can see if the distribution is symmetric in nature or if it is skewed. It might be right skewed or it might be left skewed. Okay. So if the data is skewed, then we do a certain data preparation to reduce the skewness. And this type of data preparation is known as transformations which are non-linear in nature, such as log and square root. Okay. So let's take an example of this first, and then you can come back and read this again, and that will make a lot more sense then. So let's see an example of a situation where you will need data transformation, and how would that help. So look at this particular data set, and this data set shows you the distribution of salaries in a particular organization. And as you can see, by looking at the skewness here, by looking at the distribution, that this data is positively skewed. So it has a long tail on the positive side of the distribution. So what this means is that if you were to use such a column for K-means clustering without making changes to the distribution, you see that there are quite a few outliers in this part of the curve. And going back to the objective of clustering, we wanted to create clusters which have observations that are similar in nature. So what's going to happen is that these observations that form the tail of this distribution will form small clusters of their own, and that is not a very desirable output from K-means clustering. So we don't want clusters with 2, 3, 4, 5 observations. Okay. Even though we don't even look for exactly same number of observations in each cluster, but as much as possible, we don't want to, for example, make a customer strategy for 5 customers. So that is why this type of a skewness, it does not give us desired results. So what we do in this situation is that we basically we change the distribution to make it less skewed. And what happens is that if you take a log of any particular data column, the skewness reduces quite a bit. And we will see examples of this in our lab exercises as well. So basically, this is the reason why we need this non-linear transformations such as log and square root. They help to reduce the skewness. Now, when you have reduced the skewness, then next thing is we want to standardize the variables selected if the scale of the variables are different across the clustering variables. So what does this mean? Let's understand this with an example. So I will take you through an example here. Now look at this particular data to understand why we need standardization and what does standardization mean. Now in this data set, if you can see, these are the customer IDs and this is the number of houses that a person has and this is the income of a person. Now for these two observations, these two different customers, you see if you see their number of houses, you will see that one person has one house and the other person has 6 houses. Whereas if you look at income, one person has $90,000 of annual salary and the other person has $92,000 of annual salary. So it would be quite intuitive to say that if you were to separate out the customers based on their potential value, then number of houses makes them more different as compared to their income. So even though on an absolute scale income has a difference of $2,000, but an income of $2,000 does not make these two people very different, versus having 6 houses make 102 number customer very different from the 101 customer ID. So what we're saying is that sometimes what can happen is that there could be a lot of difference in the absolute value of the columns. Like if you think about the spread of values or the scale of values that number of houses can take, it will be maybe from 0 to 10 or something like that. But if you talk about income, it's going to be in tens of thousands of dollars. So small differences in income can be very high in scale. And what happens, the problem that happens in the algorithm is that when Euclidean distance is calculated, this is the formula, right? When you put a square root here. So basically you take the difference of the coordinates and you square them. You take the difference of the coordinates and you square them. Now what happens is that the contribution of the differences in income to the Euclidean distance are much higher than the contribution of the differences in the number of houses. So what's going to happen because of this is that when you will do K-means clustering, the results will be such that the observations or the customers in the same cluster will be the algorithm will be more focused about minimizing differences in income rather than minimizing differences in the number of houses. And unknowingly, if we don't resolve for this, then unknowingly we have introduced bias in our results and we don't want that to happen. So in order to get rid of the bias, we have to make sure that a particular column does not dominate the clustering results. And to do that, we adjust the scale of the columns to make it a similar scale. So how do we do that? Let's look at some ways of doing that. This is known as standardizing. So there are different methods in which you can standardize, or in other words, make the scale similar. And the third method, which is called as the Z-score, you might have come across this particular value, the standardized scores, when you must have done your introduction to statistics course. And basically what you do is you subtract the mean and you divide by the standard deviation. So that is essentially the way you can standardize. These other formulae can also help you standardize here, but the one that we use in most of the situations, most of the tools, is basically the Z-score based standardization. So when you do this, what happens is that the new column, the standardized column, will have a mean of 0 and it will have a standard deviation of 1. And because you are standardizing all the columns will have similar scale, and the problem that I talked about here will not happen. And that is why you need to standardize. But remember, the order of these steps is important. So first you need to take the nonlinear transformations for those columns that are skewed, and then you will compare the scale of all the columns, and if the scale are very different, then you will standardize all the columns. And in most of the tools there are inbuilt functions to standardize. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about in this video, and in the next video I will talk about assigning a weight to some columns if there is a need to do that, and why do we want to do that sometimes. Okay, so I will end this video here. Thanks.